To understand India is to listen to the echoes of countless generations. It is a land where history is not confined to dusty books, but is alive in the stones of ancient temples, in the vibrant chaos of its bazaars, and in the diverse faces of its people. This nation's story is a vast and intricate tapestry, woven with threads of brilliant empires, profound philosophical thought, and resilient struggles. Our story begins over 5,000 years ago, in the fertile floodplains of the Indus River and its tributaries. Here, one of the world's earliest and most remarkable urban civilizations emerged. This was not a land of primitive villages, but a network of sophisticated, well-planned cities. They featured grid-like street patterns, advanced drainage systems, multi-storied houses made of baked brick. These early inhabitants were master builders and brilliant urban planners. The people of the Indus Valley were skilled artisans and active traders. Perhaps most fascinating are the small stone seals, intricately carved with images of animals and mysterious script that we have yet to decipher. What is truly striking is what appears to be missing. No grand palaces, no monumental temples, very few signs of warfare. In the 4th century BCE, a formidable young leader named Chandragupta Maurya established the Mauryan Empire. The most famous of the Mauryan rulers was Chandragupta's grandson, Ashoka the Great, who began his rule as a fierce conqueror. After a particularly bloody victory in the Kalinga War, he was overcome with remorse and underwent a profound transformation. Ashoka converted to Buddhism and dedicated the rest of his reign to promoting peace, justice, and non-violence. Ashoka spread his message by inscribing his edicts on stone pillars and rock faces throughout his vast empire. He built hospitals for people and animals, planted trees along roads, and sent Buddhist missionaries to faraway lands. Centuries later, the Gupta Empire rose, often called the Golden Age of India because of extraordinary cultural, scientific, and artistic achievement. Great universities, like the one at Nalanda, attracted scholars from all over Asia, making India a global center for learning. It was during this time that the great Sanskrit poet Kalidasa wrote his timeless plays and poems. The collapse of the Gupta Empire led to the emergence of a vibrant and complex mosaic of regional kingdoms across the Indian subcontinent. In the north, clans like the Rajputs rose to prominence, known for their chivalry, honor, and magnificent forts. In the south, great empires like the Pallavas, the Cholas, and the Pandyas flourished, leaving behind an astonishing architectural legacy. The Chola dynasty built a powerful navy that dominated the Indian Ocean, enabling them to control lucrative trade routes. This maritime prowess is reflected in the magnificent temples they built, such as the Brihadiswara temple in Thanjavur. These southern kingdoms were centers of art, religion, and literature, fostering the growth of devotional bhakti movements. Economically, medieval India was a bustling hub of global trade, with ports filled with ships from Arabia, Persia, China, and Southeast Asia. Indian textiles, especially fine cottons and silks, were highly sought after worldwide. This constant interaction with other cultures brought new ideas, technologies, and people to the subcontinent, further enriching its already diverse society. In 1526, a warrior prince named Babur, a descendant of Timur and Genghis Khan, swept into northern India. Using advanced artillery and brilliant military tactics, he defeated the last Sultan of Delhi and established the Mughal Empire, a dynasty that would rule over most of the subcontinent for over 300 years. Babur's grandson, Akbar the Great, is remembered as one of the most remarkable rulers in Indian history. Akbar sought to build a truly inclusive empire, encouraging dialogue between scholars of different religions in his famous house of worship. He abolished discriminatory taxes and actively promoted harmony between people of all faiths. Akbar's successors, Jahangir and Shah Jahan, continued this legacy of patronage, leading to an unparalleled cultural flowering. Shah Jahan's most famous creation, the Taj Mahal, built as a tomb for his beloved wife, is a perfect synthesis of Persian, Indian, and Islamic styles. It stands today as a universal symbol of love and beauty. The last great Mughal emperor, Aurangzeb, was a stark contrast to his predecessors, devout and austere. He reversed many of Akbar's policies of religious tolerance and spent his long reign in constant warfare. While the empire was larger than ever under Aurangzeb, his intolerance and endless wars created widespread resentment, paving the way for new powers to rise. Long before the Mughals declined, European traders had been drawn to India by the lure of its immense wealth, particularly its spices and textiles. The Portuguese were first to arrive, soon followed by the Dutch, the French, and most consequentially, the English. The English East India Company, a private trading firm chartered by the Queen, arrived in the early 17th century. As the Mughal Empire weakened, the British East India Company proved to be the most cunning and ruthless of all European powers. Led by ambitious figures like Robert Clive, they used superior military discipline, most notably at the Battle of Plassey in 1757. Over the next century, the East India Company expanded its control through direct conquest, clever treaties, and manipulative alliances. While they built railways, telegraph lines, and canals, these projects primarily served British economic and military interests. For the majority of Indians, British rule meant economic exploitation, the destruction of traditional industries, and loss of political freedom. The simmering resentment exploded in 1857 with the Great Indian Rebellion, often called India's First War of Independence. The establishment of the British Raj solidified colonial rule, but also sowed the seeds of modern unified Indian nationalism. In 1885, the Indian National Congress was formed, initially as a platform to petition for greater rights. The early 20th century saw the movement gain momentum, especially after Gandhi's return from South Africa in 1915. Gandhi introduced a revolutionary new method, satyagraha, or non-violent civil disobedience, believing Indians could win freedom through moral strength. His methods electrified the nation, transforming the freedom movement from an elite-led agitation into a mass movement involving millions. The most iconic protest was the Dandi March in 1930, where Gandhi marched over 240 miles to make salt. While Gandhi was the undisputed leader, many other great figures played crucial roles, from peaceful protest to armed struggle. These movements, along with the Quit India movement of 1942, demonstrated the unwavering resolve of the Indian people to be free. After decades of relentless struggle, they collectively weakened the British will and ability to continue ruling India. After World War II's immense toll, the British Empire was severely weakened, and a new government was more inclined to grant India its freedom. However, the Muslim League, led by Jinnah, argued Muslims would be vulnerable and demanded a separate nation, Pakistan. The Congress, led by Gandhi and Nehru, desperately wanted to keep India united, but the two sides could not agree. Faced with violence, the British rushed to exit and gave Sir Cyril Radcliffe just 5 weeks to draw a line dividing Punjab and Bengal. The announcement of borders on August 17, 1947, just after independence, unleashed massive violence. It triggered one of the largest and most painful mass migrations in human history. On August 15, 1947, India finally awoke to freedom as Nehru delivered his famous Tryst with Destiny speech. But this birth was accompanied by immense tragedy, an estimated 1 to 2 million killed, over 15 million displaced. India was finally free, but it was a broken, scarred, and divided freedom. In independence's aftermath, leaders faced the monumental task of building a modern nation, achieving the Indian Constitution under Dr. Ambedkar. It established parliamentary democracy and granted universal adult franchise, giving every adult the right to vote. Nehru led India towards planned economic development with investments in heavy industry, education, science, and space research. Social laws were enacted to empower women, abolish untouchability, and reform personal law, laying groundwork for a more equitable society. India achieved self-sufficiency in food through the Green Revolution and lifted hundreds of millions out of poverty. It emerged as a global leader in IT and software, creating a burgeoning middle class after 1991 economic reforms. Today, India has asserted itself as a major regional power and voice for the developing world. It continues to grapple with poverty, inequality, religious tensions, and environmental degradation. Yet it remains a journey of resilience, adaptation, and hope, an enduring civilization constantly reinventing itself. forever moving forward on its unique and fascinating journey.